Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Kat, artist, coach, founder of Create Magazine and Art Queens. Today I want to talk to you about something that comes up a lot in our life as artists, as humans, as people, especially if you are someone who is putting yourself out there a lot in the public eye, whether it is through your work, through your services, or in any other way. And something that can come up a lot is fear. Fear and discouragement, because being an artist and being a creative person there's no career path, there's no specific markers that we can use to kind of track our success or our progress. So a lot of times we end up having to create our own. And something that I've learned on my journey is that when nothing is happening, or when maybe you get discouraging news, no one buys your new painting that you were so proud of, or you launch a workshop and nobody shows up, it can feel really, really frustrating and scary. It may feel like you're doing something wrong. It may feel like you're not good at what you do, or that maybe you're on the wrong path altogether. Our mind tends to spin out and create stories and scenarios around certain events, which might actually have very little to do with how incredible you are. So I just want to offer you a word of encouragement, because I need to hear it all the time too. And even all these years later, I still face fear and discouragement. And I heard someone say recently that our biggest fight is not against the people that talk about us, the drama, even like lack of money. It's actually fighting against fear and discouragement, because if we give in to fear and discouragement, we actually might stop ourselves from showing up and shining brightly and doing what we do. And it can really suck the joy out of our time with our studio practice. So I really thought it was really important for me to share this with you today, because sometimes I find myself showing up in the studio, and before I even put paint on my palette, or before I even take a brush and put it to the canvas, I instantly have this sinking feeling like it's already doomed, it's already failed, and that's not a good way to work. So there's a few things we can do in order to fight against, or resist, or bypass fear, however you want to look at it. And the most important thing is to become the gentle observer of your thoughts. I have to do this all the time, and what I do personally is I imagine myself zooming out, pretending like I'm taking a hot air balloon or a helicopter ride, and just looking at myself almost from above, and realizing that my thoughts and what I'm currently experiencing is one part of a very big story and part of a really big picture. And this moment in time is not going to define who I am. Two, to recognize that I am not my thoughts. So even though I may be afraid, I'm not a fearful person. And learning to not identify with that fear and with those heavy emotions. Because in what I'm learning in the coaching world or in psychology, when we have a certain emotion, we then might attach a story to it, and then it might become a belief over time. So it's really important to observe your thoughts, to separate them from you, and also to know that this specific event or discouragement that you're going through is not dictating where you're going. It's not going to be the end all for you, and you're still going to be able to have incredible success, joy, fulfillment, and opportunities in your life. A great tool that I love to use when I feel discouraged or afraid is to, one, remember all the times that it worked out, and actually try to replace the current emotion I'm experiencing with that beautiful emotion that I want to feel. So for example, if I posted a new collection of work and for some reason no one bought it, and it's been a few days, and I'm starting to get worried, afraid, starting to wonder if I'm even good enough, or is what I'm making even worth anyone's time, I just take a moment and pause. I like to journal or pray, and then I will go ahead and write down how I want to feel. And I'll also remember, hey, just a few weeks ago you sold a painting. Remember what that felt like? Remember how excited and grateful you were? Trying to get back into that feeling is really important. And in coaching, there is such a tool called anchoring. So you can create an anchor by focusing on that positive emotion such as joy, gratitude, or abundance, holding it down on a knuckle, for example, or another part of your body. You can use scents. So for example, if you get yourself in that beautiful state that you want to be in, and maybe spray your favorite perfume or roll a little bit of an essential oil on you or light a beautiful candle, that can be a beautiful anchor to kind of pull you out of the dark and into the light. Or I also love to make playlists. So if I'm feeling a little scared or self-conscious, maybe playing a playlist that has some Nicki Minaj or Cardi B or someone that's very empowering can help bring me back to feeling like a badass and going after my big dreams and goals. The thing that happens when we put ourselves out there is sometimes we think that we're doing something wrong. But the truth is that the world is really big, and typically, even for me, I have a few thousand people following me, but even my audience is relatively small compared to the whole world and compared to all the people in this world that love art. So I want to encourage you to keep your perspective open and to realize that just because you weren't successful the first time you tried doing something doesn't mean that you can't try again and again and again. There's a lot of myth about you should only launch once or you're selling too much. And that might be true for some people, but for most of us, especially when we're building our audience, we do have to show up again and again, tell our story, build relationships, and inspire people to either purchase from us or work with us, whatever it is that you do. So really letting go of this notion that when you're sharing and showing up, that you're doing something wrong, that you're bothering people, that can be really, really emotionally draining. And I know this because, believe it or not, I still experience those feelings sometimes. I'm just learning to lean on the tools that I have, lean on my emotional support system, my friends, as well as journal and pray, and realize that I have to focus on my purpose and I have to focus on the vision. Because as you know, when you're climbing a mountain, it's not always that you're seeing a beautiful view. Sometimes you hit that muddy, rocky slope and it gets hard and you don't know if it's going to be worth your time and energy. But we have to trust and we have to have faith. And something that I'm learning as well, of course, this is the last tip I have for you today, is sometimes the best thing to do is to create things, whether it's art or courses or books or whatever it is you're creating, magazines, that you would create even if no one paid you for it. So the projects that bring you so much joy and you can get lost and get in the flow for hours working on them, or you have something really important you want to share through your work. Maybe it's something you truly believe in terms of climate change or racial injustice, and your message is life-changing for people. And even though it might feel like no one is watching you yet and no one is hearing what you have to say, you know that what you have to share is so important. And even though it may feel discouraging right now to not have anyone connect with you or buy from you yet, you know that it's important to keep going and it's going to be worth it. I remember when I first started putting myself out there, I got crickets and I tried all kinds of stuff. I tried to support myself by creating a fundraising campaign, and I didn't reach my goal, and the type of platform I was using required for you to reach your goal. And I've tried to sell postcards and prints and all kinds of things. And some of them worked a little bit, some of them didn't work at all. And usually when we let go and we forget completely about what it is we're trying to do and we just get in the flow, whether it's serving others, creating art, and just being in that beautiful moment, that's when God, the universe, decides to bless us and open up an opportunity. And I find myself usually just really focusing on my purpose or getting really inspired, and that energy seems to attract opportunities. So don't stay discouraged. You can acknowledge your emotions, obviously. Don't deny them, process them. Don't bypass them, but I do encourage you to move past the fear in whatever way feels good for you. Know that when you feel afraid or when you feel like what you're doing isn't working, there's always another strategy. There's always another way to reframe or repackage something, and know that I'm cheering for you on the other side because I am doing this work with you. I'm so, so proud of you. I hope this was encouraging. Leave me a comment if this was something you needed to hear. And I am so excited to continue sharing incredible tools, tips, and my journey with you. This is a really fun outlet for me, and I love just taking a break after I'm done painting and sharing my thoughts with you. I'll see you on the next video, and I hope you have an amazing day ahead.